Future Now Show. Brought to you by the Club of Amsterdam.
Hi, I'm Cristiana Benedetti Fasil, and I'm the president and co-founder of the NGO Social Venture Africa. First of all, let me thank Felix and the Club of Amsterdam for inviting me to give this podcast on the challenges of youth unemployment and women empowerment in Africa, in light of the work that I'm carrying on in Ghana with my NGO. Before starting, I would like to give you a few more information about myself. I'm European, born and raised in Italy, where I did all my studies, before starting to migrate to different European countries for my professional careers, including Spain, the UK, Sweden, and Belgium. I'm currently living in Brussels and in London. My last weeks, as I guess for you all, have been very unusual with the current COVID pandemic and the new social distancing norm that has so much changed our daily habits. I'm currently in lockdown in Brussels, and I spent several weeks in my flat. So now I'm very happy to have the opportunity to spend this half an hour with you. As I mentioned at the very start, I'm the president and co-founder of Social Venture Africa, and I'm also a PhD economist, doing research on economic growth, development, and entrepreneurship. My research interests have brought me to work on a large Pan-African project involving more than 5,000 entrepreneurs, and I supported different organizations with entrepreneurship programs and impact assessment of their intervention. This brought me to spend a considerable amount of time of Africa, which is a continent that I deeply love. Currently, I'm a researcher at the European Commission, but today I speak in a private capacity. So the themes of youth education, women empowerment, and entrepreneurship are close to my heart. Why? Our generation had in Europe and in the Western world the incredible lack to access unprecedented educational and professional opportunities. This is reflected even more so in my personal experience. I'm coming from a small village, and I was very privileged to be the first one in my family to graduate from university. My home is Sappada, a lovely mountain village in the stunning Italian Dolomites. For those of you who love mountains or skiing, the Dolomites surely mean something. For the other is the eastern part of the Italian Alps. Sappada has about 1,200 inhabitants, whose livelihood depends mostly on touristic activities. We have one school in the village, and the closest high school is about 12 kilometers away. The closest university is about 1.5 hour drive through narrow mountain streets. Still, I had access to free education, and I was presented with the opportunity to learn, to broaden my horizon, and to develop my skill to realize my objective in life and my dreams. For me, education was empowerment. It allowed to stand on my feet, to make my own choices, and to shape my professional career. Besides education, I always had a passion for entrepreneurship. Both my grandfather and my mom were small entrepreneurs, and I was exposed to that environment since childhood. Over the years, I had the opportunity to work with several young entrepreneurs, mostly in Africa. Eventually, I became an entrepreneur myself with Social Venture Africa. The biggest lesson that I've learned from the entrepreneurial world is that it is possible to achieve your own dream with commitment, dedication, and hard work. But you also need the opportunity and the right environment. Finally, women empowerment is also close to my heart. since I've been working in a male-dominated profession, and I believe that women have something meaningful and important to contribute. But now, let's start our dive into Africa and its unique demographics. Africa is the continent with the largest share of youth, and this share is growing at the fastest pace in the world, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. About 60% of Africans are less than 25 years old. Within 10 years, so by 2030, young Africans are expected to account for 42% of the world youth population and 75% of those below 35 years old. The energy and creativity characterizing African youth is visible in every major city. Youth is buzzing at every corner. Is the fastest growing share of youth a time bomb or a window of opportunity? The dark side of the coin, the time bomb, is the following. It is estimated that every year, 12 million young Africans join the labor force, while only about 3 million jobs become available. As a result, there are about 9 million Africans stuck in a limbo, unable to find employment in the formal sector. Surely, what we observe is that most of this youth is employed somehow, anyhow, but we are street vendors, garbage pickers in the agricultural sector, without having prospect, without having job security, without having social security, and often with an income below the subsistence level. This results in millions of restless youth that dreams of work, that dreams of a better life, and of a chance to develop themselves and to improve their social and economic conditions. However, young people find themselves often hopeless, totally stuck, and do not see a way out. Right now, in several sub-Saharan countries, the situation is exacerbated by the current health and economic crisis related to the COVID-19 pandemic. If youth unemployment is not tackled soon and the dreams of youth are not met by concrete opportunities, this could result in political instability, social unrest, and mass migration. But now, let's look at the bright side of the coin, the window of opportunity. Sub-Saharan Africa has available an enormous mass of boiling energy from the youth. The big question is then, how can we help to create the condition and the channel to transform this energy into an opportunity for social and economic development? Of course, I don't have all the answers to this very complex problem, which needs to be tackled with an holistic approach involving all the actors of society, both public and private, internationally and domestically. However, I'm convinced that education is key, especially vocational and technical training have an important role to play in addressing the skill gaps and in creating entrepreneurial opportunities. Moreover, there are many ways to foster entrepreneurship. And in African capitals, we have indeed seen the appearance of several entrepreneurial hubs, international programs to promote young innovators, as well as incubators and accelerator programs. However, these are often only accessible to the already privileged ones. Without a broadening of the access to education, the rural areas are typically neglected, and the youth from the rural areas are left behind in this limbo with lack of education and resources enabling them to work and to realize their dreams. Girls and women are even more disadvantaged. They face higher unemployment rates, widening wage gaps, lower financial inclusion, and longer school to work transition periods. The causes that prevent them to access a formal or at least a decent jobs are well known. Very often, the mentality is such that the expectation for women is very simple. First, they need to be good daughters, then good wife, and then good mothers. Their education or training are often not supported by their family, and they lack the access to resources to continue to study if they wish so. They may be forced to marry early, perhaps due to an unplanned pregnancy. Moreover, women are discriminated in the recruitment process, in their working condition, and often they lack the recognition by men. This, despite the fact that women in sub-Saharan Africa represent the backbone of society, with women participation to work, mostly in the informal sector, is high, often above 70%. And women have 2, even 3 jobs, but still live below the poverty threshold. Hence, gender equality is even more pressuring. Inclusive education and training opportunity can assure that girls and women will not be left behind. And their economic empowerment can allow them to become not only financially independent, but also to be able to own their decision and choose their path. Women empowerment is fundamental to drive inclusive and sustainable growth and eradicate poverty. So the keys to development are, in my view, access to quality education, entrepreneurship, and women empowerment. Following these 3 pillars, I've tried to give my small contribution with the non-profit organization Social Venture Africa, which I co-founded with Christoph Birch, and operates mostly in Ghana in cooperation with the NGO Village Exchange Ghana. Social Venture Africa missions is to promote women empowerment, renewable energy, and entrepreneurship, with a vision to enable women and disadvantaged youth to take their destiny in their hands and to make affordable green energy available to everyone. How do we achieve this? We break gender stereotypes by providing education, training, and employment opportunity that harness local resources and promote the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We started our activities in 2013 after working as volunteers in Ghana. While we were supporting the rural communities, we noticed that everyone owned a cell phone, but there was no power supply to charge their phone. Unless people traveled a long distance, usually to the nearby town, to buy the electricity to pay for the charge of the phones. This implied that the people in the rural area could spend a considerable amount of time without a working phone and unable to communicate. With no communication, it is difficult to keep the social and business network or to call for help in case of emergency. With this challenge in mind, we start our first program called Charge Up Ghana. It consisted of a series of dedicated workshops to teach youth from the rural areas to produce do-it-yourself solar phone chargers using mostly recycled and local material. The participants to the workshop could then sell the solar devices created into their communities, starting micro-enterprises, while at the same time sensitizing the communities on the importance of renewable energy. In 2015, we decided to step up our intervention, funding the Lady Volta Green Tech Academy. This is a renewable energy competence center, which derives its name from the Lake Volta, that is the largest water reservoir in Africa and is located in the region Volta, where we operate. The Lady Volta Green Tech Academy is based on 3 pillars. By now, I expect that you are able to guess the 3 pillars. The first one is access to quality education. The second one, to promote entrepreneurship. And the third one, to empower women, as I try to display with these 3 pictures. Starting from education, we offer youth formal vocational education to become electricians and solar power engineers. We also offer advanced training in a specialized electrical lab with state-of-the-art electrical benches to train house and industrial wiring as well as solar power. In addition, we organize ad hoc entrepreneurship trainings and workshops targeted to both our students and their community, and support them to create their own enterprises, making them become not only self-employed, but also job creators. As you can see from the pictures, we promote our academy among girls, breaking the gender stereotype that electricity and solar power engineering is reserved only to men. This has not been easy. Initially, we aimed to have our only girl academy, but this was not possible because the chief of the rural communities would not allow girls to join the school. So we brought forward 2 main arguments. The first one was that girls would not be interested to study subjects such as electricity and solar powers. And on top of that, they would not be able to learn technical subjects such as math. The second argument was that not only girls were disadvantaged, but boys were too. As an economist who has spent years studying math, I was unimpressed by the first argument. As a person, I fully embraced the second one. And we decided to compromise and to allow both girls and boys to join the academy. The mixed classes revealed to be a blessing. Girls could learn from their male peers that indeed were more accustomed to use tools, and boys could learn from their female counterparts to pay more attention to details. While female grew into self-confidence, male students understood that girls were equally able to do math, electricity, house wiring, design and mount solar panels, and climb up electricity poles. While we empowered women, we empowered men to empower women. So far, we have supported 72 students, more than half female, from 16 rural communities. Of these, about 60% are now employed, and 24% have continued their studies. In addition, 28 young people have participated to trainings of trainers, preparing them to become qualified technical teachers and transfer the knowledge to the new generation of students. But what do our students think of the Lady Volta Green Tech Academy and the opportunities we are creating for them? I will just quote 2 testimonials from 2 of our students. Belinda says, "The center is particularly tailored to empower women to achieve the philosophy of the center, which is what a man can do, a woman can do." I want to add an anecdote. One of our female students, Judith, transformed our motto in the following way: "What a man can do, a woman can do better." Obviously, we have not adopted this politically incorrect version, but it is uplifting to see the transformation occurred in Judith, that from being very shy and with low self-esteem, grew to be an assertive and determined young woman. Another of our students, Anita, says, "All the electrical work done in our kitchen was destroyed. I was able to successfully do the wiring for our kitchen and it works fine. With these newly acquired skills, I can either become self-employed or work in an electrical shop." At the moment, we have decided to temporarily suspend the activity of the school due to the COVID pandemic that has arrived also in Ghana, as the safety of our students and staff is, of course, our first concern. At the same time, the teachers have voluntarily started a long-distance tutoring of the students via weekly assignments and follow-up done by phone to give the opportunity of the students to keep learning and preparing for their upcoming exams. I have to confess that this commitment from our teachers has warmed my heart, and it makes me think that we are on the right path and that our efforts go in the right directions and that we are having an impact on the life of the students, of the teachers, and of their communities. Besides the vocational training and the outreach activities, we are also trying to directly impact on the quality of life of the rural communities we are working with. Ghana is one of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa with the highest level of electrification. However, more than 30% of the rural settlement are still unelectrified, and power shortages are anyway frequent anywhere. To tackle this challenge, in 2018, we started the design and test of solar mini-grid systems with the objective to serve communities that are too far away to be connected to the electricity grid. So far, our past and current students, led by in-house educated technicians, installed 11 systems, bringing light and power to 11 households that did not have access to electricity before. The pictures show you the installation prepared at our site, the mounting in the villages, and of course, the light finally switched on. In the past 5 minutes, I've tried to summarize the work of 5 years. Clearly, this would have not been possible without committed staff able to go the extra mile, amazing volunteers, friends, and several organizations that supported Social Venture Africa, not only with brilliant ideas, but also with donation to the different projects. At this point, I'm due to show you the faces behind the Lady Volta Green Tech Academy. These are Christoph Birch, Chairman of Social Venture Africa, Senyak Zebel, Board Member and former manager of the Academy, Confidence Coffee, current manager, Kofi Nyalimba, social worker and consultant to the Academy, and last but not least, our fantastic Cristiana Miller, the director of our partner NGO, Village Exchange Ghana. To them, we need, of course, to add all our local teachers. Our joint efforts have brought an impact. Nevertheless, there is still a lot of work to do and several challenges to tackle. Firstly, our beneficiaries are disadvantaged boys and girls, coming from modest families and often abusing domestic environment. Their morale is struck by the lack of opportunity and self-confidence, and this results in lack of drive and commitment. They are in their need of a supporting and safe environment and positive and inspiring role models. And the local staff is tasked with the difficult job of not only teaching per subject, but equally important, whether not even more important, to support the students in breaking the protective casing, rebuilding their self-confidence, and guide them in the transformation to become responsible young men and young women, capable of owning their decision and realize their dreams. Secondly, working in the rural areas is difficult. We lack infrastructures, we lack the access to the large network that is typical of the urban areas, and we lack access to fast internet connections. At times, especially when it rains, it is almost impossible to make a simple Skype call with the local staff and get on-time updates of the activities and potential issues that can arise with the day-to-day management. Thirdly, we are forcing to break a deeply rooted gender stereotype, insisting to train women as qualified electricians and solar power engineers, able to design and install complex systems, and also to train male how to do it. Gain the recognition of men and their community is possible, but still challenging. Among our students, men are still more assertive and have higher expectations and aspirations. These challenges are now exacerbated by the current pandemic, which health, social, and economic consequences will be dramatic. We, Europeans, need to extend our support and solidarity to Africa and its youth. In this time of forced confinement, Social Venture Africa is working to develop more opportunities and new projects, not only for Ghana, but also for other African countries. To conclude, let me tell you a short story. A friend of mine from Accra, who is a brilliant young entrepreneur supporting entrepreneurs in the capital city of Ghana, so in Accra, once told me during a conference where we were both invited as speakers, defined me as a dreamer. During his talk, he said that I'm not only trying to tackle the challenge of youth unemployment, but I'm doing so in a rural environment where it is more difficult. To this, I add yet another challenge, which is to train girls in a traditional male job. Well, I'm happy to be called a dreamer and to have the opportunity to try to achieve also this dream. However, this dream is too big for a person alone. So if you want to contribute to the discussion and share ideas, please feel free to contact me. Each of us can contribute to the sustainable and inclusive development of Africa, transforming its demographic in an opportunity. Thanks for listening to me till the end. Stay safe. As I said, I will be very happy to continue the discussion and to share ideas, to create a larger network to support the work of Social Venture Africa, not only in Ghana, but in other African countries. And of course, to support with donation our organization. And for this and for more information, you can go on our website. And thanks for supporting our activities. Okay, thanks for listening to me till the end. Stay safe, be hopeful, and goodbye. And I hope to hear from many of you soon.